Thank you for taking time to watch this video on Radiosynoviorthesis and Tin 117M. I hope it will be instructive and provide additional insights into this veterinary application. Nuclear medicine began in the mid-1940s when iodine-131 was first used. Subsequently, over the next few decades, cameras were developed and nuclear medicine became more widespread. In the 1970s, they started imaging other organs such as the liver, the spleen, brain, etc. And in the 1980s, a major step was taken into heart imaging when technetium, 99M, and SPECT were introduced. In the 1990s, positron emission tomography using fluorodeoxyglucose came into the fore. This was followed by some therapeutic isotopes being introduced, such as yttrium-90 and samarium-153. We're going to be talking about Tin 117M, which began to be used in bone pain palliation and cardiovascular clinical trials in the 2000s. And in 2014, studies specifically using this in canine osteoarthritis began. What does the word radiosynoviorthesis mean? This word is split up into three parts. Radio, referring to the use of radioisotopes. Synovi describes the inflamed synovial membrane, that is the targeted organ, and orthesis meaning restoration of it. So radiosynoviorthesis, or RSO, means restoration of the synovium using a radioisotope. You may also have heard of it being referred to as radiosynovectomy. Radiosynoviorthesis involves directly injecting radioactive colloids into the synovial cavity to treat arthritis. It has the effect of reducing the pain, effusion, perfusion, and inflammation of specifically synovitis. You can see examples here in the pictures of various joints that are being treated in this way. RSO has been used for over 60 years and has treated more than 1 million people. Today, more than 60,000 are treated in this way in Germany alone. It's a very effective procedure, very safe procedure. 3 commercial isotopes are used routinely. Yttrium-90, which has high energy betas, is used to treat the larger joints, the knees, and sometimes the hips. Rhenium-186 is used for elbows, wrists, and ankles. And erbium-169, with very low energy electrons, is used to treat the smaller joints in the fingers and the toes. This short video taken in Germany shows the treatment of osteoarthritis in a human knee. This procedure is outpatient, and the first step is to insert the needle into the synovial space. There is the option of imaging to make sure that the needle is correctly placed by inserting a dye. Tin 117M has SPECT photons that can also be used for this purpose. So now they know the needle is correctly placed. So now they can insert the radioisotope. In the case of knees, this is yttrium-90, which is a high energy beta, so they use a shielded syringe. For Tin 117M, the low energy electrons do not require a shielded syringe. And then the line is flushed to make sure the isotope stays in the knee. So as you can see, this is a very simple, very straightforward, very rapid procedure. What is Tin 117M? It's a radioisotope of tin. It's produced in reactors or with accelerators because it doesn't exist naturally. It has 4 types of emissions. They're all quite low in energy, but the conversion electrons and the gamma rays, conversion electrons about 140 keV and gamma rays around 159, which allows for SPECT imaging. These are the main two emissions that we focus on, although there are also Auger electrons and X-rays that are lower energy. Tin 117M has a 14-day half-life. As I mentioned before, Tin 117M has been used to study other disease conditions. Breast cancer, Alzheimer's, human cardiovascular studies have been undertaken looking at treating vulnerable, unstable plaque. Also molecules for treating lymphomas, leukemia, bone pain, human studies have been undertaken, stents have been made, and most recently it's been used to look at canine osteoarthritis. How is Tin 117M used to treat canine elbow osteoarthritis? The radioisotope Tin 117M has discrete low-energy conversion electrons that can penetrate about 0.3 millimeters in tissue. By preparing this isotope in colloidal form with perfect particle sizes, all of these particles can be engulfed by macrophages, yet none of them can escape the joint. As a result, we have a non-systemic, greater than 99% retention in the joint. Tin 117M eventually decays to harmless, natural, inert tin and is eliminated by lymphatics. In the three figures that you see at the bottom, the mode of action is highlighted. On the left, you see the colloidal form of the tin that's been injected into the synovial space. In the center, you see a macrophage or a synoviocyte approach this. It identifies the colloid as a foreign object, and it phagocytizes it, as you see on the right-hand side. Macrophages will head towards the lymphatic drain points. In order to do that, they have to pass through the synovial membrane. Now, the tin will eventually cause the death of the macrophage. But as it does, other macrophages in the neighborhood will pick up the remnants and continue the journey. Macrophages are particularly abundant in the synovial regions of high inflammation. Tin 117M, branded as Synovitin OA, is handled as a veterinary device. In these images, we see how Tin 117M has been phagocytized by macrophages and now is starting to move into the deeper layers of the synovium. So although Tin 117M itself only has a therapeutic range of 0.3 millimeters, because the macrophages migrate and specifically will go through the synovium towards the lymphatic drain points on the other side, they carry the tin with them, thereby treating the whole synovium. What's really interesting in the second image is to see these macrophages congregating around a certain location, which subsequently was identified as a particular area of inflammation. And inflammation is precisely what we want to treat with this process. Here we're comparing Tin 117M with iodine 131. First of all, you notice that the half-life of tin is slightly longer, but the most significant difference between the two is in the range of energies and in the maximum therapeutic and diagnostic energies. You see that the maximum energy of the electrons from iodine is over 800 keV, whereas tin is only 158. This translates to a quite different penetration range. Iodine can go as deep as 3 millimeters, whereas Tin 117M only goes 1/10 of that. The diagnostic emissions also from iodine are higher than those of tin. What that means is that Tin 117M can be used in precise, targeted, we already said non-systemic therapy, it also translates it to it being easy to handle in clinic and it being an outpatient procedure. This slide outlines the procedure involved in treating a dog with Synovium OA. Once the veterinarian and the owner have agreed that the dog will be treated, an order form is filled in by the veterinarian specifically for that dog. Once received by Exubrion, a custom-made dose is prepared for that dog. It's inserted into a lead shield and container, shipped to the veterinarian site where it's stored until it's required. The veterinarian's assistant will prepare a dose of the Synovium ready for injection, and after injection into the dog is allowed to recover. The dog is then ready to go home on the same day. So it's a very simple, rapid outpatient procedure. So in summary, we've seen that nuclear medicine is routinely and safely practiced in both human and veterinary medicine to treat a wide variety of diseases. Radiosynoviorthesis has been used for over 60 years to safely and effectively treat joint conditions in people. Tin 117M is a new agent for this, and it has unique properties allowing for easy to handle targeted therapy delivered in a convenient outpatient procedure. Synovium OA, which is a veterinary device containing Tin 117M, is now available to veterinarians to provide long-lasting efficacy against canine elbow OA. The next two slides showing the product insert contain additional information on Synovium OA and its use that you can review at your own leisure. I hope the information provided has been useful and provides extra incentive for you to consider using Synovium OA in your own practice. Thank you.